and it has produced a standard of excellence in my life that other people crave and want to emulate. And what I tell people all the time is that nobody is going to remember you for being mediocre. You got to choose a path of mastery in your life, and you got to make a commitment that you want to be the best in the world at what you do, and that you're willing to put in the work, the time, the effort, the energy that it takes to go from mediocre to being great. Now, let me also say this: a lot of people think that they're going to start off being great. And I tell people you're looking at decades of work and decades of failure to become who I am today. And I still fail at some things all the time. I just don't allow those failures to define me or to derail me. I get back up and I regroup and I get new strategy and I move in a different direction and I still get to the outcome that I want. And so many people think that you're just going to wake up, you're going to be great, you're going to be the best in the world at what you do. And that's just not the reality. That this is a trial and error path that you're going to be on and that you're going to fail. And I feel like the quicker you fail, the better, because you realize that none of us have it all together. And even the most influential and powerful in the world fail. It's what they do after the failure that determines who they become. And I want more people to understand that so that you can fail, get back up, keep going, and you can produce the breakthroughs and the innovations and the advancements that the world really needs in this hour. If you've been following this series, and I've been diving deep into the subject of neutrality. And honestly, I believe that neutrality is the reason that most people never realize their potential. Um, there's a lot of reasons that people will tell you why they're not reaching their potential. Some people will say they didn't have all the right opportunities. Some people will say they were born in the wrong family. Some people say they didn't come from the right circumstances. But what I find so fascinating is that for every excuse why you can't do something, there's a success story of somebody out there that's already doing it. And so, you might have not been born on the right side of the tracks. You might have not been born in the perfect family, but there's somebody else that comes from an even more tragic circumstance that has produced something beautiful and excellent in their life that dispels all the myths and gets rid of all the excuses for why you can't live the life that you were created to live. All my life, I've been called strange, odd, extreme, and even obsessed. People are always telling me, Jamel, it doesn't take all that. You're doing too much. You should tone it down. What I've come to discover is that people want you to dumb down so that they can feel comfortable in their mediocrity. It's almost as if they're saying, "You're making me look bad. Stop it." And what I always tell people is that your comfort with mediocrity is not going to cost me excellence in my life. If you want to be mediocre, you be mediocre, but you don't have the authority or the power to determine how high I go or what is possible for my life. And too many of you listening to me are letting people who don't even have the capacity for you tell you what you're capable of and what's possible for your life. They don't even know what they're capable of. So why would you give them the authority in your life to tell you what you're capable of and who you can become? The sad reality is that these comments often come from individuals who have settled for the status quo. And just like I just told you, I don't tolerate mediocrity in my life. I don't tolerate it from myself. I don't tolerate it from the people who work around me. I don't tolerate it from my friends. The fastest way to get get under my skin or to get me upset is to come to me with some sorry, lame excuse for why you can't do something or why you can't be something or why you can't achieve something in your life. I don't want to hear it because I know the power that we have to create the reality that we want and to live the life that we were born to live. And I know that excuses are nothing more than the monuments that we build to the mediocre life. And Every day we're choosing. You always have a choice. We're choosing between success and failure. We're choosing between victory and defeat. We're choosing between victimization or victory. We're choosing between insecurity or identity. Every day we're making choices, and those choices are constructing the reality and the possibilities of our lives. And in other words, what I'm trying to say is that these people are not living life that anyone wants to emulate or replicate. Write that down. These individuals are not living lives that anyone wants to emulate or replicate. So, why would I give so much time, so much energy, so much focus and attention to somebody who's not even living a life that I want? And how often are we wasting time competing and comparing ourselves to the highlight reels of people that are not truly honoring their potential in the first place? We can drop the mic and go home right there because social media has done us such a disservice. We're so busy on everybody else's timeline that we're wasting the gift of time in our own lives. What could you be accomplishing? What could you be building? What could you be constructing? What could you be engineering? What could you be birthing and innovating in the world that is not getting done because you're on everybody's timeline? I remember having a conversation with somebody and they began to say to me, "How in the world have you written 13 books?" And I said, "It's very simple. Number one, I wrote 13 books because I wanted to. And number two, I wrote 13 books because I know the power of time and I know how to use time effectively. There are a lot of people that I hear say, I would love to write a book. I would love to create this product or this service, but I don't have the time. And everybody will tell you, do not say that to Jamel that you don't have the time. Because I've had so many clients over the years that have come to me with that lame excuse. And when I audited their time, there were hours and days and years of wasted time that they swear that they didn't have. And I think they were just in total shock that somebody was courageous enough and bold enough to call them out on their crap. You always have time for what you value and what you prioritize. And so if you're not getting it done, if you're not pursuing it, then we just have to admit that it's not a priority in your life. I've written the books because they're important to me. I wrote the books because I enjoy it, and then I write the books because I know that there are principles and wisdom and insight that I want to get out into the world and into other people's lives that I cannot do without writing these books. Because at the end of the day, there will come a point in the world where Janelle Sanders is no longer here physically. But the podcast that I did, the magazine interviews that I did, the books that I wrote, the intellectual property that I left in the world, all of those things will live on beyond my lifetime and generation. And so if you spend all of your time on other people's timeline and you don't do anything of value with your time, what contribution do you really have to leave the world beyond you being here physically? You don't have anything because all your life has been consumed with everybody else's life and what they're doing. And so, what I'm trying to say to you is that you need to get really focused about how you use your time and how to maximize opportunities in your life. I've been misunderstood and criticized because of my passion and the fact that I'm built differently. A lot of people will say, Janelle, we can't do what you do. And that's very truthful. You're not me. We don't have the same purpose. We don't have the same assignment. Most of all, we don't have the same capacity. And this is why comparison and competition is so destructive. Because, like I said, everybody's capacity is different. God has given me a very big capacity because of the mandate on my life to serve a large amount of people. Your capacity may not be the same because your calling and your assignment and your purpose in the world may be different. So if you try to use my capacity and what I'm doing as the rubric for how you operate, then you might find yourself frustrated because you might try to do something that you don't have the capacity for. And it keeps collapsing and You keep getting frustrated, not